Hey everyone, I'm Jim Cathcart and I am glad to see you here today. Give me a wave if you can hear me. All right, good. We have people from all over the world, and I'm here in Austin, Texas, in the United States. And today's topic is growing your community using relationship selling. Relationship selling is a concept from one of my books. I've written 20 books, but it's a concept from one of my books that's sort of a central idea for all of the training that I do. And the idea is this: a relationship is a direct connection between people in which value is exchanged. Let me say that again. A relationship is not just a connection, it's a direct connection between people in which value is exchanged. So you can know people just to say hello, you might know their name, but that doesn't mean you know the person in such a way that you truly have a relationship with them. A relationship begins when there's some kind of value being given back and forth between the people. Now, there are simple relationships like seeing your neighbor from time to time and saying hello, hello. That's an exchange of greetings, not much value, but it's the beginning of a relationship. But there are also relationships where you're committed to each other for an ongoing period of time. So it could be a business partnership, it could be a working relationship, it could be a marriage. All of those are higher level relationships where there's a great deal of value being exchanged between the people. So what does that mean to business? Well, it means looking at your business, looking at growing your community with BITALIUM, looking at growing your business if you have another business other than that, by taking each connection you have with someone else and making it more and more and more valuable to them every week, every month, every year. A colleague of mine, a famous professional speaker, Zig Ziglar, who died a few years ago, but was a very, very famous man in the United States. He wrote a book called See You at the Top. And he wrote many other books, but Zig Ziglar's famous for saying this one thing. He said, you can get everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. You see, our biggest challenge and our biggest opportunity is to become a problem solver, to become someone that everyone else looks to us when they want to find a better way. So if you become a problem solver, people start depending on you, relying on you, turning to you for advice and guidance. So how do you do that? Well, to be a problem solver, first, you must be able to solve problems that people care about. Lots of people can solve problems we don't have. Someone can build a building out of stone that would house building supplies. Okay, that's nice for some people, but I don't need that. So they're solving a problem for somebody. It's just not me. Okay. How do you become important to me and make me want to be your customer? Find out what I care about and help me get that. Find out what I'm bothered by and help me eliminate that. Find out what I'm afraid of and help me reduce the threat. Find out what I'm dreaming about and help me make my dream come true. So when you and I instinctively develop the skill to constantly identify what people care about and to help them find better ways to get it or remove it if it's something they're afraid of, then we become known as problem solvers. And as my good friend Don Hudson says, you should become known for the problems you solve. You know, we just moved into a brand new home, and something we're looking for is someone who solves the problem of cleaning homes, because we don't want to have to always clean the home ourselves. We'll do it occasionally, but once in a while, we want somebody to come in and do a very thorough job of cleaning our home. So that's the kind of problem we need solved. When it comes to investing money, I need guidance from experts. I'm not an expert in financial investments. So I need a problem solver who's an expert in financial investments. When it comes to cryptocurrency, I need BITALIUM, and I need people that do what the folks at BITALIUM Exchange do, because I don't understand that world very well yet. So that's the problem they solve. So become known for the kind of problems you solve. But before that, become skilled at noticing other people's problems, helping people describe and explain what their problems are so that you can help them solve that. Even if you're not the person who can solve it, if you become the person who can guide them to the expert who can solve it, then that makes you important to them also. So you don't always have to be the one who does the job. Just be the one who helps find the person who does the job, or the one who helps them be sure that they're dealing with someone they can trust. See, one of the biggest problems in the world right now is we don't know who we can trust. It's easy for someone to develop a website and to look impressive, but that doesn't mean you can trust them. That doesn't mean it's real. It just means it looks that way, okay? So it's important for you and me to build our business and our career in such a way that other people realize, I can trust her, I can trust him, I can trust this company. Because then their tension goes down, their fears go away, they tell you more information that you need to know in order to help them, and you're able to be of greater value to them. There's a saying that's been popular for many, many years, and that saying is, knowledge is power. Well, in a world where knowledge is limited and only available to a few, knowledge is indeed the source of power. But what happened many years ago is people started learning to read and write, and knowledge was able to be shared, and they created books. And books were able to be read by other people. You know, at first it was only the elders, only a few of the wise ones who could read and write. And so everyone else had to wait for them to tell them what was true and what was not true. But as the people learned to read and write, they were able to get the written materials and learn on their own. So knowledge became available to more people. And then schools opened, and then knowledge expanded. And then the internet, many, many, many years later, was created, and knowledge expanded yet again, where it was available to everyone. Well, today with the internet, almost anything you want to know in the world is accessible, at least much of it is, via the internet. So that means knowledge is no longer the source of power. I mean, it's great to have a lot of knowledge about something, and it certainly makes good sense for you or me to specialize in one field and become very knowledgeable about that field. But on other subjects, we can also become momentarily or temporarily knowledgeable. So knowledge is no longer where the power exists. In today's world, trust is power. In any group of people, the one person who is most trusted by the others has the most possibilities open to them. And the person with the most possibilities usually wins. That's the person who achieves the most, who does the best, who ends up better off than the other people. Trust is power. So think about the field that you want to specialize in. Like my field is teaching people how to become more successful by developing themselves and growing their business. That's the only thing I study. I study interpersonal communication. I study sales. I study leadership. I study public speaking. I study writing. I study business, but all of it in one particular focus. I study and specialize in teaching people how to become successful in their chosen field. So I've learned a great deal about psychology. I've learned a great deal about sociology, the study of groups. I've learned a great deal about business and strategy and strategic thinking and strategic planning, but all of that in one particular focus. The focus is helping people succeed. Okay. The people at BITALIUM have focused on cryptocurrency. They understand finance. They understand monetary value. They understand markets. They understand the global financial system. They understand the nature of transactions conducted primarily online or digitally. Okay. I don't understand that. I know a little about it. I could learn more about it easily by studying online every day, but that's not the field I've chosen to specialize in. So I've connected with them to give me that possibility. See, when you're not able to lift something heavy, if your friend has a tool that will lift it and you build a good friendship with that person, even though you can't lift the heavy thing, you can get the heavy thing lifted by using the tool that's owned by your friend. Think of the same thing in all types of business. Whatever you cannot do personally, don't be concerned that you can't personally do it. Just build relationships with people who can do things that you cannot, and look for ways to be of value to them so that they will at the same time want to be of value to you. You know, there's an interesting psychological backwards that I'd like to explain to you. I heard this years ago and it just really surprised me. They said, if you want someone to feel indebted to you, to feel like they owe you something, the quickest way to get them to feel that way toward you is not by you going and doing something for them. The quickest way to get them to feel indebted to you is to get them to do something for you. Well, that seems to run completely opposite to what makes reasonable sense. No. If I want someone to feel that they owe me, then I should do something for them. Yeah, give in order to receive. But psychologically, if someone does a favor for you, if someone helps you, if someone opens a door, introduces you to another person, the feeling that goes along with that is one that they feel connected with and indebted to you a little bit, just as a result of helping you. If you're ever in a situation where the other people around you are kind of scary, to reduce the tension and fear, try asking one of them for a simple favor. Like, excuse me, could you hand me that thing over there? Or pardon me, would you hold this door open while I move this? Or, hey, could you tell me how to get to this location? In other words, just asking them for assistance, if it's a simple request, will cause them to no longer see you as a threat or as a stranger or an outsider, but rather as someone who they are connected with a little bit. So one quick way to get other people to feel more connected with us is ask them for help, ask them for assistance, ask them for a small favor, and to be very willing on our own part to give back to them in some meaningful way. That's why it's important in building a community for us to ask other people for referrals to others that they know that we might be able to help. Ask for business referrals, ask for introductions, ask them for a testimonial or an endorsement of us or our product or our business that we could use to tell other people, this is someone you can trust. How many of you, by show of raising your hands, how many of you are on LinkedIn, on the internet? LinkedIn. Any of you? Okay, I don't see any. But in the United States, LinkedIn is a major online community. And in LinkedIn, they have an automatic feature where you can click request an endorsement. And you send a message to someone else that you're connected with. And you say, I would appreciate it if you could endorse me or my business or my product by giving a referral or a testimonial. And so the person can click accept, and it gives them a little window where they can type in information. They can say, Dimitri is a good friend of mine, or I've done business with Lucas in the past, or Irma is someone I've known for years, and this is a person you can trust. And so they type in that endorsement for you and click submit, and it becomes a part of your business profile so that other people who are on that website can see that. Well, you can do this on any website, on any kind of a online forum. Ask other people who you already know, who you've already earned their trust, and they say, okay, I know Ray, I know Dimitri, I know Edward, I know Arianto, excuse me, Bartos, I know Gunter, I know this person, and I've done business with them. I trust them. I see Lenz. I have dealt with Lenz. Lenz Marius is someone you can trust, right? All right. So you look at all the connections you have as potential business assets, people who can help you in business by you helping them in whatever ways that you can, right? Good. Now, one of the things that I've done with BITALIUM is I have sent to Lucas all 8 of the ebooks, the small digital versions of my relationship selling book, so that each time we do one of these seminars online, these webinars, they can send to you or make available to all of you that ebook for you to be able to access it online or download it. So last week, the one was on preparing, on sales readiness, how to be ready to do business in sales, okay? This week, it's finding the buyers. How do you find the people who would naturally do business with you? The people who should become a part of your community, the people who are the easiest for you to connect with, for the people that you are most likely to do business with, and the people who represent the smallest challenge in you establishing a new relationship connection, business connection with those people. So that's what the book Finding the Buyers is about. And by the way, each of these ebooks is short. It's just, a couple of dozen pages long. It's not a big, thick book. And so you can read it online easily. And when you download it, you can review it again and again as you want to. Now, there are 2 types of markets for a business. A market is the people with whom you will do business, okay? So when you're building your community, think of 2 types of people, 2 groups of people or markets. One, natural markets. These are the people you're already connected with. You already on some level know them, and you have some easy access to communicating with them. Your natural market. The second type of market is a chosen market. It's one that you say, I would like to do business with the people in that group, but I don't currently have any connections that would open those doors. All right. So let's look at your natural market first. Who are the easiest people for you to do business with? The people who already know you, the people you already know, the people who already trust you, the people that you have done business with in the past or been involved with in some activity in the past. So it would be helpful for you to do what a friend of mine, Steve Curtis, calls a friendship tree. In other words, just create a structure on paper where you have your name and then the names of the people that you know through your family, people you know through your community, people you know from school, people you know from your business, people you know from clubs that you might belong to, or sports that you're involved in, or teams that you've been on, or activities you're involved in. Like I'm a mountain trail runner and hiker. I love running mountain trails 2 or 3 days a week. And I have a group of friends with whom I've done that 3 days every week for 18 years. Well, there's 60 people in that group. And we call ourselves the Heartbreak Hiking Fools. And it's a silly name that we adopted because we think of ourselves as being very fun-loving and free. So we call ourselves Hiking Fools. And we're very passionate about hiking. And we call ourselves Heartbreak Hiking Fools because our toughest trail is one that is very, very steep, that goes up many hills in a row for about 3 miles. And it's called Heartbreak Trail because it hurts to hike that trail after the first several hundred feet. So we're the Heartbreak Hiking Fools. Well, I have 60 friends in that group. And I know these friends. I don't do business with many of them. And when I first got involved with the group, I didn't do business with any of them. But over the years, my real estate agent has come from that group. My financial advisor has come from that group. The people I've done business with in the community, it's come from that group. The person that helped introduce me to the country club where I joined and got a membership came from that group. And likewise, I have given speeches or done seminars or private personal consulting for many of the members of that group, not most of them, but some of them. Now, that group has one requirement when you join. First off, there are no dues. It's not a formal club. It's just a social group of enthusiastic hikers. But our first requirement is do not join this group to do business with this group. Join this group because you like to hike. And don't ruin the experience for others by trying to cultivate business with them while you're hiking. However, once you become friends with people and they become aware of what you do for a living, if they have a need for that, then indeed help them solve their problem. Become a resource for them. Do work for pay for them and let them do work for pay for you. But don't turn our social group into a business group. So I think we should all take that advice. If you join a church, if you join a Kiwanis Club or Lions Club or Optimist or Sertoma or Pilot Clubs or any of those kind of groups around the world, if you join one of those groups, do not join it to exploit them with your business. Join it because you care about the cause, because you're interested in the people, and you're there to help make the world a better place and to build some friendships. And when you can help, let people know you're willing to do so. By the way, here's another thing with your natural market. I wonder, and I'd like you to think about this, I wonder how many of the people in your closest relationships, your good friends, your classmates, your coworkers, your direct family, your next door neighbors that you see all the time, how many people in that little circle of close connections for you could accurately describe what you do for business? How many of those people, if I asked them, what does he or she do, could answer accurately? You know what I've found? Over many, many years all around the world, the vast majority of people, their own family, their own closest friends, their own coworkers, and sometimes their teammates cannot accurately describe what it is they do for business, for a living, because they don't understand it well. Many years ago, I decided that I should work to build and grow my natural market of family and friends. Marius says 90%. Wow, that's impressive. But I wanted my family and friends to know and understand more about what I do for a living. And that at that time, the internet wasn't active. And so most of the communication people had was through regular mail. And I would develop from time to time promotional brochures and flyers, things like this that I would send out. Look at this old picture of me with dark hair. I would send these out to my clients and try to grow business by sending out those things. And I also sent it to my family. And the reason I sent it to my family is I wanted them to know what I was doing. Well, one of my family members called me one day and said, "Stop trying to sell me things." His name was Gary. And I said, "I'm not trying to sell you things." He said, "Yes, you are. You keep sending me these things in the mail trying to get me to buy from you." I said, "Gary, you're my cousin. I'm not sending this to try to get you to buy from me. I'm sending this because I assume you cared about me like I care about you. And I just wanted you to know what I'm doing. So if you don't want these things, throw them away. And if it offends you, I'll take you off of my mailing list entirely." But I was just trying to, it was innocent. I was just trying to get you to understand what I do in my profession. He said, "Well, okay, then you can keep on sending them." In other words, once he understood it, there was no threat, but he misunderstood my intention. So I think it's important that we look at our natural market, the people we already know, and we ask, how can I make them more aware of what I do and how I can be of value to other people? And then as we, over time, get more and more of our natural connections to become aware of what we do and can do, what we will find is many of them will say, "Hey, excuse me, Edward, I've got a friend who needs such and such. Is that something you do?" And you say, "Yes, as a matter of fact, I do." "Well, let me introduce the two of you and maybe you can help her," right? So your business will grow, just like my business grew through my Heartbreak Hiking Fools friends, through my neighborhood, through the people that I would meet at the coffee shop each morning. I had one of them one morning. He said, Jim, "You're a speaker. You give speeches at conventions." I said, "Yes." He said, "You should do a TED Talk." I said, "TED on the internet?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Bernie, I've done a TED Talk and it's received over 2 million views. Of all the 100,000 TED Talks in the world, mine is in the top 1% worldwide." He said, "I had no idea." Wow. I had no idea. And I sent him a link so that he could see my TED video. See, even the people we see every day and we think they probably understand what we do. No, they don't. No. So we need to constantly make people aware, but do it without constantly talking about yourself or promoting yourself. Do it in the sense of just sharing with people what you've been doing lately and finding out at the same time what they do. Because many times when someone asks you a question, they want to know about whatever they're asking a little bit, but they may have something they want to tell also. So a lot of times someone will say, well, Jim, what do you think about so-and-so? Well, I've come to realize that as a young man, I used to just talk and talk and talk and talk and tell them what I thought about what they were asking about. But in more recent years, it's working better for me because I tell them a little bit about my thoughts and I say, what do you think? And then I find I'm learning a great deal more. See, when you're speaking, you're not learning anything. When you're listening is when you're learning. So answer questions briefly, accurately, but then ask, what do you think? Or do you have any experience with this? Or, if someone says, hey, tell me about cryptocurrency. Well, you could probably talk half an hour if you're really into that, or maybe even longer, but don't do that. Tell them a little bit and then ask them about their situation, about their interest, about their experiences, their opinions, what they've heard from other people. So get people talking. Selling is not about telling. Selling is about understanding people and helping solve their problem. Seriously. It is about understanding people and helping them solve their problem or achieve their goal or fulfill their dream. Does that make sense to you? Good, good, good. Okay. Second type of market, a chosen market. A chosen market is a group of people that you have decided to go after and cultivate business among them. For example, when I moved from San Diego, California, in the southern part of California in the United States, to Thousand Oaks, California, I moved about 200 miles maybe. And in the new community, I didn't know anybody. So I got involved with the hiking group and went on a few hikes with them, and that helped grow my connections. And I got involved in the community by supporting the Boys and Girls Clubs, which is a charitable cause. And I got involved with that, and that helped me meet some more people. And then I realized there was a country club, a club near my house with a golf course, and I don't play golf, but I love that kind of a community. I said, I would like to join the country club. They said, well, you need someone to introduce you. So I found someone in my hiking group who was a member of the club, and they recommended me as a member. So I went to the club, I applied, I was accepted, I joined the club. Now, I didn't know anyone there. I mean, I knew one person, but I knew that these were very successful people in that area. And the more of them that I met, the more business possibilities and friendships I would have. So I said, okay, this is a chosen market or group of people that I want to go after. How do I develop good relationships with more people here? Well, first, I should go to their social events. So when they have a big holiday dinner, I should pay my fee and take my wife and go to the holiday dinner. And I should meet people and not talk about me, ask about them. And when they ask about me, give them brief answers and then ask more about them. And become known as someone who's interested in others. See, the quickest way for you to become an interesting person in other people's minds is to become an interested person in learning about other people. Become interested in other people, become curious about them, and be a good listener, and you will gain favor with more people more rapidly. So I went to some events at the country club, and then I met the people who managed the country club. And I said, I have a special skill. I can teach people how to understand ideas and understand themselves and each other more successfully. It would be inappropriate for me to try to sell my services to your country club at this point. I'm a member. I'm not a vendor. So I would like to provide a service for the members of your country club. I will lead group discussions of small groups of your members once every month. And I'll bring in celebrity guests, people that I know that have written books or have done important things or become very successful. And I'll introduce my guests to your group, and we'll have group discussions about whatever topic that person's successful at doing. And I will do this as a member service if you will cater the event and promote the event to your membership. And they said, what a great idea. And we called it a parlor discussion because we would meet in a beautiful room that was the parlor for the big country club main building. And I did, over a period of 3 years, I did 36 of those events. And sometimes I was the featured person. Sometimes I'd bring in a special guest. Sometimes we would talk about music. Sometimes we'd talk about business. Sometimes philosophy. Sometimes we'd talk about strategy. With lots of interesting discussions. I even have a friend who was an astronaut, and I brought in my astronaut friend to talk about traveling on the space shuttle. And so these were really interesting discussions. Well, the discussions were good. The meetings went well. But for me, the fruit of that was I developed a whole big group of new friendships among all these highly successful and intelligent people. And many of them asked me for advice, and some of them hired me as a consultant, and some of them brought me to their company meetings to give speeches and seminars, and some of them bought my books and gave my books to their employees or to their family members. So I grew a large new base of business without trying to promote my business. I was trying to be of service. And so that gave me the entrance into a new market or group of people that I had chosen, but I had no connections in the first place. You can do that. It doesn't have to be a country club. You could say, okay, I choose to do business with people in the field of agriculture, people who are farmers, who service farmers, who sell farming equipment, who provide goods and supplies for farms, or people who work on farms. Great. If you know nobody in the farming community, but that's who you want to do business with, then just go out and visit some farms and visit some farming supply businesses and just go to equipment dealers that sell tractors and other farm equipment, and go to stores that sell farming supplies and start reading magazines about farming and talking with the people and telling them, I want to learn more about this. I want to understand farming. And they say, do you want to be a farmer? Well, let's assume for a moment, no, you don't. But you want to be an advisor and a resource for farmers. And let's say it's in the field of cryptocurrency. You think, well, what does that have to do with farming? Everything. Really? How? All farms require money. All businesses of all types require money. So the more you understand about money in its many various forms and how to use it, how to grow it, how to process and manage money more effectively, the more you can help anybody. And if you decide that you like working with farmers, then go out and get to know the people. Don't go out there to tell them things. Go out there to ask them things and to learn and to observe, what do they do with their money? How do they generate money? Does their money grow? How do they encourage its growth? How do they invest? How do they protect themselves from dips in the, or bad times in the marketplace? How do they manage the money that comes and goes through their accounts day to day, month to month? How do they set aside money? How do they, just think about that and learn about their world. And what'll happen is you'll learn to speak their language. You'll learn to talk to them and with them about things in such a way that you no longer feel like an outsider. You begin to feel like family because you know what the words mean to them. You know what they're concerned about. You know their practices. You can participate in the conversation, not as a stranger, but as a person that understands. See, I did that in the music community. I play guitar and sing. I love to play guitar and sing. And 10 or 15 years ago, I wanted to do more musical performing. But I didn't know people in the music community, and I wasn't known in the music community. And my main profession is teaching, training, speaking, writing, and lecturing. I'm a college professor. I'm a motivational speaker. What does that have to do with music? Nothing. So I started getting to know people in the music community. I went to music stores and I talked to the manager of the store and I talked with them about the instruments they sold and the lessons that their people taught, the music lessons. And I talked with them about the suppliers that they bought their musical supplies from. And I learned their language. And I showed them that I was a guitarist and a singer, and I was doing some small performances here and there, and they gave me new ideas. And I started doing better. And it got to where I was performing every month, and I was becoming known. And I developed a nice second business as a musical performer. And for 8 years, I performed in a nightclub, 2 different nightclubs over 8 years, once or more every month, with my wife singing with me and my friend Dave playing guitar and me playing guitar. And so I developed a really fun second income and outlet for the thing that I enjoy so much, which is music. So use the same kind of thinking that I'm talking about here. Decide what group of people you would like to be known among, how you would like to be known, and look for ways to cultivate those connections, not by selling, but by learning, understanding, and helping. Because selling is just helping and then getting paid for doing so. That's all it is. Selling is a form of helping. If you're selling and it doesn't help anyone, that's not selling. That is manipulation of people. That's trying to get their money, and that's not what selling is about. Another thing, whenever you identify who you want to be your buyers, is ask who's already buying what I'm selling. People you know and people you don't know, who's already involved in this field. Well, go learn from those people. Go connect with those people. Go tell those people what you've discovered and open the dialogue and ask them who else is in this field. And they will guide you to other people. So you can expand your connection with people that are already converted to your point of view. And you don't have to do any selling at all. You just have to become known as a person they can trust, a person they can respect and learn from, a person who has some solutions that maybe they haven't discovered yet. Okay. And one good thing to do is once you've done this for a little while, get a separate sheet of paper and start writing a description of your perfect customer. If the world were absolutely perfect for you, if all the traffic lights turned green when you pulled up to the intersection and it was always a go for you, if the world were just right for what you do, who would your ideal perfect customers be? Well, write a description of those people. Where do they go? What do they read? What websites do they visit the most? What do they talk about? What are they fascinated by? What are they afraid of? Who do they respect? Who do they admire? Who are their heroes? Who do they not respect? Who are their villains, the people they want to avoid? Who are the people that they think are bad? Okay. What are the subjects they love to talk about? What are the subjects that bother them and make them uncomfortable? What are the things they usually do in business? How do they find solutions? Where do they look when they're looking for someone like you or me? When you start answering questions like these and you get a good written description of your ideal customer, then you can take that description and keep it where you can see it all the time. And you say, okay, I want to find people like this. And maybe that description is 100% of what you're looking for. But maybe most of the time you only find 60 or 70% of that description applies to the people you're finding. Still, those people have the potential to become almost a perfect customer for you. So look for limited versions of your perfect customer as you go through your day-to-day activities. And the more you identify that person, that perfect customer on paper, the more you will find you discover those people out in the marketplace in your day-to-day world. So Denny, this is not about going out each day and starting something brand new. It's about taking the day as it comes, your regular day, Eugenia, the regular day, Magdalena, Juan, your regular day. You take a look at that day and just incorporate into it more of this thinking, more of these little activities, so that more frequently you are finding people you can deal with, people you could be of help to, people you are fascinated by. So that's the key to this whole thing. You grow your community with relationships, and a relationship is a direct connection between people in which value is being exchanged. The more value you give to them, the more value they will provide to you. You can get everything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. Become known for the problems you solve. So become interesting as a person by becoming interested in other people, and learn to be an exceptionally good listener. And another thing is get into the habit of identifying people you could introduce to each other to help them help each other. See, if you need something and I don't do that thing, but I know someone who does, I can say, hey, let me introduce you to someone who does that. And so I go to Nazi and I introduce Nazi to Dimitri or to Irina or somebody who does whatever it is that Nazi needs. And in doing so, Nazi not only feels grateful for that and does business with them, but remembers that I'm a good resource. And occasionally might turn to me and say, hey, Jim, I've got an idea for you. Have you met Damien? Well, Damien does that thing that you were looking for the other day. Let me introduce the two of you. So introductions are a big part of this process. Growing your community through relationships. And relationship selling is simply helping people for pay within the context of that community you're growing. Natural markets, make sure your natural market knows what you do and how it can be of value so that they can at least recommend you to other people. And chosen markets, make sure the groups that you decide you want to do business with, the groups that you decide you would like to be known and accepted by, that you learn more and more about them to become better known among them. Do a market profile. Where do they go? What do they read? Who do they admire? What are they afraid of? What bothers them? What excites them? What are their primary needs? Okay. Write out a description of your ideal customer and then start giving referrals and introductions. See, the quickest way to get is to give. So give as many introductions and referrals as you possibly can. And what will happen is people will start responding by giving in kind. And next thing is look for ways to increase the amount of business you're doing with particular people. The first thing would be identify more opportunities to do the same. The second thing would be to identify people that you've never done business with that you can do what you've done with other people. So, for example, you've got 10 people buying from you and you're selling them item number 1. Sell them also item number 2. Find 11, 12, 13, 15 people you could sell item number 1 to, and then sell them item number 2. Then look for ways to cross-sell people from the second group, cross-sell to the third group and back to the first group. In other words, look for up, down, sideways, backwards, forwards, inside, out, all these different ways. When you go into a bank, if you want to open a banking account, in the US anyway, typically you go in and let's say you're going to open a savings account just to save some money in the bank. When they sit down and they do the first interview with you and they accept your money and put it into a savings account, typically they will say in their mind, this person probably could be helped in more ways. I'll ask about those. So they also ask you, would you like a checking account? And they'll sell you a checking account. Are you buying anything for which you need a loan? And then they'll lend you money and you pay them back in monthly payments for whatever you borrowed money for. And then they say, do you invest your own money or do you have an investment advisor? And banks usually have an investment department and they'll refer you to that person. So there's one thing that started with a simple savings account is now a savings account, a checking account, an investment account, a loan. And maybe they say, do you own your own business? Well, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. Do you have a business account? Well, not yet. And they open a business account and a business savings account and a business cash reserve so that they can lend you money from time to time when it's needed for your business. So they've ended up with 7 or 8 or 10 accounts from one person coming in for one reason. So we should think the same way. How can I serve my customers in multiple ways on multiple levels like that? Okay. And then how can I help my customers serve my other customers by introducing them? Dimitri, I want you to meet Lance. Lance has been doing business with Magdalena. Magdalena is a very good resource for this. And so Magdalena does business with Lance and then ends up doing business with Dimitri. And Dimitri says, you know what? I appreciate Lance because he introduced me. I wonder if I could give him some introductions or referrals or be of help in some ways to him. The quickest way to get them to feel indebted to you is to get them to do something for you like an introduction and for them to see that you will quickly and willingly do the same in response for them. So today we've covered a great deal of ground, a lot of topics in a short time frame. But all of this is only about the portion of selling that's finding the buyers. Finding the buyers and networking and growing your connections and making your world more aware of what you can do to make their world better every day. So as you read the book on finding the buyers, as you go back and read the other ebook, the one on sales readiness, I think what you'll find is many of these ideas are excellent exercises for you to work on your own with your own written descriptions, and that will help you in every kind of a selling situation, even those that are not really selling, but it's just networking, relationship building, and growing your business. In many nonprofit organizations, like a charity, they do fundraising events where they'll hold a special celebration and people pay to be there, and they take the profit from that as funds or money to support their charity. In others, they have children selling something from door to door, and the children buy for a small amount and make a small amount of profit. And most of the money goes back to the charity to support their cause. And that's called fundraising. Well, the organizations that have grown the most have realized that it's not just important to raise funds, it's important to grow friends. And so they've changed their thinking from simple fundraising to friend raising, raising the number of friends that you're connecting with. And so they look for ways not just to ask people for money, but to show people how their charity makes life better, and to connect with more and more people who would like to also help in that cause. And in doing so, they find that people support them with greater donations, that those people bring the other people they know into the group and support it even more. And by doing friend raising, their fundraising becomes easier. The same will be true for you. As you grow your community, grow your value to other people, and increase the number of people in your world who understand what you do, how it's valuable, and how well you can do it. And please send your messages to me with questions and comments, because I would love to hear from all of you about how these ideas work for you and what remaining questions you have. That completes today's program. I am proud to be connected with all of you. Thank you, my friends. Have a wonderful day.